When last we left our intrepid adventurers, we'd been having trouble sleeping. We were at a, I don't know, were you here for this?
I don't remember. Last time I was here was
we went to the City of the Mists, an Elven city, and they've got this sacred grove thing there, as elves do, where if you go to sleep there, you get to have a prophetic dream. And it's, very informative. You ask a question, you get a prophetic dream about that question. But you have to make a ability check based on one of your mental stats, and we had been failing those, so we were trying to dream and getting weird nightmares and waking up screaming and going to the crazy hut to recover. So yeah, finally, after we'd all flubbed in various ways, except Serendipity Van Gold started in the lower top Lord Tower, Chimper Soul Strides Through Time, she managed to get a good prophetic dream. What was that one about again? I keep forgetting. It was
about Aurora destroying the chaos, but it wasn't Aurora.
Yeah, so there was something there that was useful. Finally, it was Croesus's turn. So we're like, well, we're going to put the pre-crazy guy into the prophetic dream, and maybe since it's driving all of us crazy, it'll drive him insane.
Well, he is the dreamer.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Even Elven Word is excited for this guy.
So he rolls really well, super duper awesomely well. And it was the end of the session anyway, so we decided that this session, or rather Tim decided this session, he wanted to run the session. It was all going to be happening in his dream. And so, yeah, I braced myself for, like, this super philosophical and deep and, like, okay, we're going to delve into Croesus's psyche, and there'll be all these things that, like, I represent hatred or whatever. And we'll be fighting him with metaphorical weapons, etc. It's going to be really deep and meaningful. Mm-hmm. Apparently, Tim was really hankering for a dungeon crawl. We haven't had a good dungeon crawl in a long time. So, yeah. So the session starts with the party in one of Croesus's, not his memory. The dreams are like visions of the past and future and stuff. So we're getting a vision of one from Croesus's past, from when he and his previous party of friends and comrades were down in the world's wound, fighting their way through all the chaos. And so we're in front of this castle, this chaos castle, and we know with sort of dream logic what we're doing here. We're here because there's pixies inside this castle, and we got to rescue them. And there's all these rules about how the dream works. We know all these rules about how dreams work. One of them is that only one room exists at a time, because that's the room Croesus is in. And so if you run through a door to get into the next room, you sort of you stream out and you're unloaded until enough of the party gets you through, and then the previous room streams out and the new one streams in and it starts. So only one room exists at a time, and everything is kind of suspended while you're not in there. And there's some other stuff, like if you get killed, then you can appear in the next room with a healing surge and 1 hit point at the cost of a healing surge, and you start out with 1 hit point. That sort of thing. No one actually got killed, but it was sort of a bit strategic, or like, okay, maybe one of us will stay behind and hold them off or whatever while the rest go through, and then I'll just appear in the next room with 1 hit point. But anyway.
And they know that they're Croesus's old party.
Yeah.
And like they don't think about it, they're Croesus's old party, but if you concentrate and focus, you're like, oh no, that's actually cricket.
Yeah.
But whatever, so they're kind of both.
Yeah. So there's this castle, and there's these 2 titans guarding the gate to the castle, and they hate each other. And they're arguing. But being chaos creatures, their argument consists entirely of nonsense words. Very strongly felt nonsense words. But they're just screaming gibberish at each other.
Yeah. They spent some time trying to figure out the language, but
it's not a language.
Hank used his helm of languages to figure out that no, they're just making up gibberish.
Yeah. It's like,
one guy was like more guttural and like, and the other guy was like, and they just
like a sketch scene.
Yeah.
And so they were just screaming at each other and these.
Yeah. So finally they grapple each other and are trying to shove each other off the drawbridge into the moat, because there's a moat around the castle. And we're like, okay, now's our chance. Let's run through there. And since this is a vision of the past, Croesus knows how it went and knows how to get through these things. But Croesus being Croesus, he's not being very helpful with the things he's saying.
He's really despondent.
Yeah.
Because when they asked him, like, what he's like, it doesn't matter.
Nothing matters.
Nothing matters anyway.
About what happened this way. So apparently what happened last time is that the party just ran through while they were grappling with each other, and then when the Titans, after they ran through, the Titans turned and tried to get through, but they crammed into the door together and they couldn't get through. So of course we ruined that. We come up with a cleverer plan.
Well, they didn't know that at the time either. Though.
Yeah, we didn't know that. Oh, you just run past them and that's how you win. We figured, okay, the running past part is a good idea, but they're standing right next to the moat, and Cricket has a shout of triumph. I'm just going to shove them both in the moat. So yeah, Cricket runs up to shout of triumph them, and probably the worst possible thing that could happen is if I'd succeeded on one and not the other, because now there'd be a single Titan, he'd get through the door just fine.
Because I think you realized, like, at the moment you rolled and it failed on the first one.
The first one.
And that was when, like, Croesus brought up that, like, last time they just got stuck in the door.
Yeah, and it was like, I hope I fail on the second one as well. Fortunately, I did fail on the second one, so I didn't shove either of them into the moat. But now Cricket is Cricket is there just yelling at them, and they're yelling at each other. I'm a winner. So the rest of the party manages to get through, and then Cricket. Let's see, I think she got hit, but she ran through.
Yeah, you took one of them. They slammed you. I think they both hit you, or maybe one of them hit you. They did a lot of damage, but you got through. Yeah, I took massive damage, but I ran through. So yeah, I took massive damage and accomplished nothing, and then we got through the same way that Croesus got through anyway. Things are going well though. Yeah. We're inside the castle.
The tank has taken the damage for the party.
Yes. I went and tanked them to let the rest of the party through. So we're in the next room, and there's a whole lot of chaos creatures in here. And
there's like a barracks because it has beds and piles of filth and stuff.
And there's a bunch of heaps of pixie cages that are empty, except there's one dead pixie in one of them, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Okay. So but there's a bunch of chaos creatures in here. There's a couple of guys with really long hook hands or something like that, and there's a couple of guys that are like all covered in spikes, and then there's this one tumor guy that's like lying in a bed in the back.
He's the closest thing to like a human they've seen, and he's all covered in tumors. And he's sleeping.
So I run into the room, and one of the rules of the dream is that you get a short rest every time you go from one room to the next. So encounter powers are great; you get them back every time. So I immediately shout of triumph this room, and this one actually works. I wind up shoving all the spiky guys into the back with one of the other hook hand guys, and basically now there's two doors. Okay, so it's like we come in through the door. There's a door straight ahead of us, which now has all the monsters grouped up in front of it. And then there's a door to the side, and there's just one of these hook hand guys, and he's standing next to the door to the side. And we're like, okay, should we fight these guys? That's not really the goal here. We're trying to figure... Oh yeah, Croesus' question that he asked to get this prophetic dream about...
Yeah, the point of the dream.
...was, why me? Yeah.
And why can't it all end?
Why can't it all end? Apparently, the whatever intelligence is behind giving these prophetic dreams, it just loves these philosophical questions that don't have hard answers that can be given through showing images of the past and future. So yeah, that's one hand clapping. So apparently we're already starting off with the vision-granting entity or whatever pissed off at us.
Which is why they had to hire subcontractors.
Yeah, which is they've dragged us into the dream to try and make something of it.
But they do know they're there to rescue pixies, and they asked Croesus, "What did you do last time?" He's like, "That doesn't matter. What we did last time was a waste of time. It was stupid. Nothing ever works out anyway."
So we're like, whatever. Okay. So we don't strictly need to kill these guys. So let's all just run through that door.
The one with the glow behind it. Yeah, because they can't see what's in there.
Yeah, there's just this one hook hand guy there. Like, how hard could it be? So I'm trying to remember all the crap we got up to trying to run through that door. I think Cricket ran up to the door and opened it, and she took an attack of opportunity, and it hurt.
And that was her whole turn, because she had to open the door.
And then, right. So
hook hand guy, I remember that she ran onto his hook hand.
Yeah, so the hook hand guy got me with an attack of opportunity, and it was painful. He had a nasty attack of opportunity. But I opened the door, And then I was like, okay, can someone on their turn like blow me through the door somehow? We were thinking maybe Hank could bull rush Cricket through, but that would, and then he would be stuck in that square because it would take him the whole turn to move, then bull rush. But then he had something that was like a charge attack.
He had a special ability that let him charge and then push you more squares.
Yeah.
So he came running up and got the attack opportunity. So we just imagine Cricket was hooked on the hook hand, and he comes up and replaces her, and then just keeps going right through it.
Yeah.
And so he got horribly butchered by the hook hand guy.
Yeah, and then he goes through the door, and Cricket got blown through the door by this charge attack. And then everyone else is coming along, and let me see, how did they all get through? At some point, they decided to deal with hook hand guy, didn't they, or something?
Well,
they didn't. No, they didn't.
Or
No,
like daze him?
They pushed him. They tried. Someone tried to push him away, or maybe this was on the way back.
No, I think he was there all along.
But they talked about pushing him away because they're like, oh, he can't get us. And someone was like, oh, he has reach 3. It's like, well, that doesn't apply to attacks of opportunity, except for there's like 5 monsters in the entire monster manual that have threatening reach.
Yeah.
And then so someone makes an Arcana check. Oh, threatening reach.
Yeah, this is one
Reach
of
of
those
3.
guys. Yeah. So really, there's nowhere we can push him easily that he couldn't do attacks of
Yeah, you have to
opportunity,
daze him or something.
Yeah. So we just wound up. I think we all took attacks.
I think everyone took an attack of opportunity running past.
Someone teleport through the door.
No, you're thinking of later, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, if you had hit him, you could have teleported him away.
Yeah. Or something. No, he was out of the area.
Oh.
With the Shout of Triumph, it covered everyone except him.
Okay.
And I figured out just leaving one guy, it's probably not that big a deal. It clears everyone else out of the way.
Yeah.
So
So
just,
yeah,
that was the
everyone
critical-
runs by and he's just hooking everyone as they go by, and we all get into the next room. And then the room, we're all in there, so the room loads, and we find out what room we're in. It's a treasure room. There's a huge pile of all the treasure that we could possibly want. It's a dream, so whatever.
you can make a huge comic style bag of treasure, and each one of those you have slows your movement by 1.
Yeah.
That's just like the way it works in the dream. So you could literally have 3 of those if you wanted to. It's just gonna slow you by 1.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, we decided we didn't really need any treasure, but maybe we might just in case. So Cricket took one, because her move is a bit faster than everyone else's. It doesn't matter if she gets slowed down a little bit.
And they asked Croesus if they took any, and he said that Kem, I think it was Kem, one of those, Kem had a plan for it, and I guess it worked, but didn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
So because of that, they decided to take one thing of treasure.
Yeah, just in case there comes up some situation where we actually need that. We did consider grabbing a whole bunch of treasure and then throwing it at the monsters in the next room. Oh yeah, that's the thing. When we got in there, we discovered there's no other exits. It's just an empty room except for a pile of treasure and a door that leads back to the hook hand guy waiting there.
Right at the door.
Right at the door, waiting for us to all come running back through to hook us on the other way through.
Luckily, somewhere in the treasure pile is an anti-hook hand device,
No,
right?
we didn't search through all that much.
It's actually good that the room streamed out, because otherwise they would just all be just sitting there waiting for you.
They would have all gathered around instead of just that one hook hand guy. So yeah, we take the bag of treasure. And then I can't remember the sequence of how we went back through the door. I mean, we knew the hook hand guy was there and he was going to be hooking everyone that went through. So
I think Serendipity went in first, and she cast her mass charm first, because she got this new ability.
Did she get hooked on the way?
She did, because that's when we were discussing if there was a way to avoid it, but no one had an ability that would push in more than 3, so there was just no way to do it. But she had except for this mass charm thing. So she ran in, got hooked, and then she did this mass charm, which is some new wizard ability she has, which has no defense, and it's you can move. It's like a huge burst, and you can move all the enemies, slide them around, and then they each perform one basic attack against the thing of your choice.
Nice.
Yeah.
So she pushed the hook hand guy away, and then got the 2 spiked guys to go up to the tumor guy. The tumor guy had been woken up, I think, by her mass charm or something, and he was just waking up.
He woke up just as we were running through, but since the room streamed out, he was still lying in the bed when we came back.
And so he was just waking up, and then the 2 guys covered in spikes come over to him and like, group hug!
And they sandwich him between them, spiking him up. Because that's their basic attack, is a hug attack.
That's so lovely.
Yeah.
They're like messed up Care Bears.
Yep.
And actually, no, and she couldn't push the hook hand guy away, which is why Hank came into the room and did something to like lock him down so he couldn't attack everyone. And that's why Hank and the hook hand guy were over fighting by the door, and everyone else just ran through the room. Because all the guys were pushed to the side, and everyone else just ran through the room, leaving only Hank in there, which is just fine, whatever. It's Hank, right?
We figured, worst comes to worst, he'll just appear in the next room with 1 hit point.
Then the tumor guy stands up on the bed because the other guys have finished hugging him, and he says, "It's not a tumor," and he opens it to show what it is, and it's something so horrifying that Hank just stares at it like.
So it's a mental attack.
By the time he like breaks his concentration, he's standing right next to the tumor guy, and the 2 spike guys are all around him. Group hug. It was just basically a bunch of slides, but he was focused on whatever it was that wasn't a tumor, and then everyone unloaded on Hank and horribly mangled him to a pulp.
So Hank got pretty badly banged up there. I think at some point you kind of realized that, hey, these guys actually aren't all that tough, and if we had just fought them, we would have killed them fairly quickly and stuff. But we'd really gotten into this whole run through the room without stopping to fight them thing, so success.
But when Hank's turn came around, like he was totally surrounded by enemies, and it looked really bad for him. But he just like hit the enemy, and then he was like teleport to the door,
thing,
and then walked out the door.
So he appeared in the next room with us and heals all around.
Yeah.
Deal with the hook hand guy that sliced us up a bunch.
Where are the pixies again?
They're somewhere in this castle.
Okay.
So we're in the next room, which is actually a hallway.
This is the part where Tim was like, so I just want it to be like this, and can you just like whip up some stuff for this? And I was very happy to oblige.
So the hallway we're in is like entirely made out of animal parts that are like, melded into the wall.
It's like all flesh and whatever.
Stuff.
And it's narrow and cramped.
So an animal zombie, but not zombie.
The walls are just made out of
furs,
creature parts.
Right.
Creature parts, not fur. I think it's probably mostly like
it's human. It's like
parts.
skin.
Yeah.
Like skin.
Yeah. When I said animals, I just wanted to specify it isn't just like human.
Right.
But it's
just like a bunch of flesh.
Yeah.
Okay. Humanoid.
And so we get in this room, and like hallway, it goes straight. Halfway down, there's a door to the side, and then at the far end, there's another door. And there's a sound of a pixie screaming from the far end. So Aurora decides to just run down the hall
down Flesh Hall.
Straight on down. There's pixies screaming. We have to go and
we gotta go save them.
And Cricket runs behind her. No.
Cricket's like trying to no, please stay within Guardian's counter reach. So Aurora takes like one step and triggers the first trap of many that are down this hall.
There's in the wall. There's like 2 closed eyelids that are mixed all in with whatever, and the eyelids open into these 2 big eyes, and then the eyes open with these 2 jagged tooth mouths
inside the eyes,
and start shooting this beam of little tiny flesh-eating pig heads with squid tentacles on the end. And it's just a stream of them that hit you and start burrowing all into your body and destroying you and devouring you.
Yeah, so it's like...
Would you rather?
It's like 3 hit points of damage when it hits you, and 20 ongoing hit points from the pig heads all eating at you. And, Cricket, of course, is like, Guardian's counter, and Aurora's like, nope.
She just keeps on running.
So she keeps on running through now that she's got the pig heads all over her. She goes into the next trap and the next square down, because it's like every square.
Immortal mosquitoes?
No. This one was like a leg hold thing.
It was just like a bunch of weird, like twisted limbs popped out and grabbed a hold of her leg.
Yeah,
no
so she
vacuum
got
cleaners
grabbed.
for hands.
No, she got grabbed and stuck in place. And Cricket's like,
It wasn't Would You Rather theme, but it was supposed to. It's like flesh. Traps, chaos theme, which was interesting. Like everyone was just like, "Oh, this is John again," but like I'm an artiste. This is like I thought of lots of traps that were like gross or creepy, but like my goal was to be bizarre and like chaotic. And if it's gross and creepy, that's just like side effect. But like like I wouldn't have like maggots because that's not chaos. That's just gross, right? there's a depth to my creepy pighead trap.
So yeah, the next one pins, it grabs Aurora and pins her, much to Cricket's relief.
Stop triggering more traps.
Yeah. So then Cricket's turn comes along, and I used Shadow Step, I think, to teleport adjacent to Aurora, and I bypassed the pighead trap, I think.
You got splash damage, because if it goes off next to it, you already had some.
So I got the pigheads on me anyway. And so I've got the 20 ongoing damage. And then I use my Brave Mail of Sacrifice to pull the pighead effect off of Aurora. And there's no way to refuse that.
Right.
So Aurora can't stop me.
Yeah.
And it actually works out quite well, because I've already got the pigheads on me from going through there, so they don't stack. So I basically nullify the pigheads on Aurora. And then she promptly uses Gloves of Grace to grant me a saving throw. And so I clear all, we just sort of imagine that she's using the Gloves of Grace to wipe all the pigheads off.
Right, yeah.
It's like, oh, Gloves of Grace, Gloves of Grace. Now, Cricket is clear of the pighead thing. And then I think with my last thing is did I give her the something of freedom or
I don't remember.
Moment of escape, which gets Aurora out of the grapple thing. So yeah, okay, we know there's a grapple trap there and a pighead trap there, and now Aurora is further down in the corridor. She hasn't hit any other traps, getting moment of escaped, but there's probably going to be more down there. I'm not too concerned because Aurora's turn is over, and so I'm sure that my other party members are going to be charging pell-mell past her and triggering whatever traps lay further ahead. So I'm now committed to watching them do that. Maybe if I could have obstructed the hallway, whatever. Then Aurora would have started running further next turn. Anyway, so next up was Serendipity. Then goes on more top of her tower, steps slow strides through time. She used the wizard version of Find a Trap. She cast a fireball and set the whole rest of the hallway ahead of Aurora on fire. And that did actually clear out something.
Yeah, there was some kind of pool of acid that went off in the fireball, but they don't know what happened. And the whole room smelled both disgusting, but also kind of like delicious barbecue, which was worse than if it had just been disgusting, because you don't want it to smell delicious.
Yeah. So our wizard blew up the hallway ahead of the rest of us. And then Hank.
They did notice at the very end of the fireball there was another set of eyes that was blinking from unpleasantness of being fireballed.
But it wasn't damaged by that. So there was another pighead thing further along. We knew where it was now. That wouldn't stop us from running into it, of course. It's at least now we know what's going to happen when we charge headlong into that square.
It is interesting that everyone with the first eyeballs, no one ever defeated. They just tried to attacking it and stuff. No one ever tried to think of how can I avoid this or whatever. Yeah. Everyone just ran right through it and got hit by it. It was just they knew it was there, and I think someone tried to attack.
They tried typing the eyes closed or turning invisible.
I teleported past them. It turns out I still got hit with splash damage because they were covering an area, but I did actually try to avoid them. I don't think that Serendipity then goes for more top of the tower steps close tries Doom Lair.
She did get hit by it because she got critted.
Oh,
and it went under her veil.
Oh right, it's upper nose and stuff. Next round, Cricket vacuumed the pig heads off of Serendipity and 7 names besides. Next round. Yeah, so no one, even though everyone was running pell-mell through the pig head traps, no one was taking any serious damage aside from Cricket, who was taking all the damage. But it's alright because it doesn't stack, so. So yeah, let's see.
When they got to the door in the middle, they could hear. Maybe that's where they heard pixies or someone screaming or someone was singing about something.
Yeah, someone was talking about spicy food or something.
Oh yeah, cook it up and we need the secret spice or something.
Yeah, we heard that through the door to the side, but at this point everyone's running to the end of the hallway. So.
Well, Hank had run just past the door, and that's when the tentacle came from the far end and grabbed him. And started pulled him towards the other door, which opened into a huge jagged mouth of like rotting teeth and started pulling him in here and like, except that it critically failed, so he just like tried to do that, and instead Hank just stood outside of it.
Yeah.
And it also pulled him through the next pig head trap.
Yeah.
So he got pig headed.
Down at the end of the hallway, then we've got the giant mouth that's right at the end. It's trying to chew on Hank, not having any success. And we got another pig head trap right before that. And there's a tentacle, but it only dragged Hank down there, and it didn't really participate any further in the combat. Let me see now. I think we started attacking that pig head trap. We finally realized, hey, maybe it's a good idea to get rid of the traps before we run through them. I know we killed one of the two eyes, but who did that?
Someone...
Was that Aurora? I think Aurora did that. She stuck her sword through it.
Yeah, I think she killed the second one. First, someone killed I think Hank killed the first one. And then Aurora killed the second eye of the eyeball trap.
Right.
And everyone just wailed on the mouth, but I kept rolling so badly, it just kept doing nothing. And then finally Aurora just ran and jumped inside the mouth. It critically failed, and she missed, or it failed, it missed her, and she just stabbed it from inside the mouth and knocked all its teeth out. And then it just opened, and then behind it was the door.
Yeah.
So the mouth actually was like not it like
never hurt anyone.
Never hurt anyone.
It seemed really freaky to me. I thought it was like almost a boss level thing. So I was considering timeless trekking it, but it turned out not to be necessary. Yeah, and then I think the session ended with everyone running down to the far end. And did we went through the door? We found out
We went through the door, and in the middle were these two huge hulking mounds of fleshy monsters, or two huge hulking fleshy monsters pounding the crap out of each other.
And
there's a whole bunch of other monsters fighting in that room.
And then Croesus says, "Oh yeah, this is that room where everyone pointlessly fights everyone else. Those sorts of rooms are really popular down here in the Chaos.
I don't know why."
Yeah.
And that's where we ended.
With the realization that next session we're probably going to have one of these all against all melees. And Cricket is bloodied and covered in pig heads. And is all about buffing other people anyway. So she's going to go down and just spam.
She thought the glove cleared all the pig heads off him.
I got him again. Of course. I would, because everyone else is running through these pig head traps. And they can't stop me from pulling the pig heads off of them, so I'm totally pulling all the pig heads off of them. It's alright, I'm used to suffering. I remember back the last time we were in the Chaos Chasm, I kept a running score about which party members had attacked me for various reasons. Because we kept coming up with encounters that would, have some kind of thing where, the attack makes you do a basic attack against your nearest ally or whoever's adjacent to you or whatever. And for some reason, Cricket kept being the target of those, even though it was happening over a long period of time. And by the time we got out of the Chaos Rift, every single person had taken a shot at Cricket at least once. So she's used to this kind of thing. So yeah, that's probably what next session is going to be about. And there's been no deep philosophical or psychological revelations about why me and why won't it end that we've encountered yet. So, I don't know.
So what was the acid trap?
Well, I can't actually tell you because
they might go back through.
And there might be more or something.
What was freaky about the leg grabby part?
Just
it holds you, and it holds you in the splash damage of the pig heads. So even if you had if you'd spotted the pig head and then did whatever it took to sneak past it, then you just walk right into that trap, get caught, and it would go off on you.
Hank wound up doing the Croesus counting thing, where it was like, this is the wrong dream. It's not my dream. This is someone else's dream. It's the wrong dream. 1, 2, 3, etc.
It was actually pretty good because it kind of gave Croesus some empathy of if you actually believe that this was your experiences were this dream,
right?
And everything going wrong was
you'd have some issues.
Yeah. A lot of the rules would seem weird and arbitrary. You wouldn't want to bother with some stuff.
Well, and you'd do things like, if something wasn't how you thought it should be, you'd just be like, no, I don't believe this is happening, because, it's a dream. But yeah, Tim planned the whole thing, except that he asked me to whip up some traps because he didn't have time to look up traps and stuff. So I did, and I ran the combats.
So Tim's still playing it, but...
He's not. Croesus is there, but he's totally an NPC.
Right.
In fact, he he phases in and out of existence based on whether people pay attention to him or not.
Sort of like Kalinar.
But he's just kind of outing. He's not really part of it.
I missed the beginning.
Oh,
Why were
that's
you-
right. At one point, the seat was empty. I don't know why. I had assumed that, I just stopped paying attention and suddenly phased out of existence. And... Anyway, you were asking.
This was a dream about something that will happen or
It has happened. This is from Croesus's trip to the chasm. First
Oh,
What
where
a
he got
slice you
broken?
had of
Yeah.
weakness. Much better than I expected.
Yeah, this is from shortly before he got broken.
Are you guys hoping to fix him?
Kinda, yeah. It would be nice. But, yeah, mainly, the question he asked was why him, and why won't it end? As for why him, I think that this dream is actually answering that. And the answer is, because you went through all this crap, you do. It's pretty straightforward. As for why won't it all end, I don't know.
Here we go again. There's just no point to it. I'm just gonna watch this time. Won't change anything. Nothing matters. They keep trying again and again. I just want it all to end.
Dear Diary, I woke up inside Croesus's head while in his dream, and it's so interesting. The very best part is how well Cricket and I work together. These squid pig things got me, and then I passed them to her. Well, she kind of took them. And then I helped her get rid of them, and it was just like, we are such a great team. We're all working together, and we're going to get through this and find out the answers to Croesus's questions. Why me? I'm sure we'll do it, and Croesus will be better, and everything will be great, and then we'll go together, and Croesus will be himself again. Yeah, I miss him.
Urs, stop. Just stop. Quit going. Okay, fine. I'll just set it on fire. That works.
Okay. It's a dream. I know we're in a dream. It's okay. This isn't right. We have to go back. This isn't right. It's the wrong dream. We're not supposed to be here. Okay, it's gonna be okay. We have to fix the dream so that Croesus can wake up. It's a healing dream, and we're here to help. We can't go back. We have to go forward. But this isn't right. Is this the right dream? Is it the wrong dream? I don't know. But I don't like it. It's too much. I don't know. Okay. 1, 2, 3.